I am Slick Nick, your personal certified Enneagram coach. And yes, this is my favorite Enneagram book. You can click the link right there, it takes you to Amazon. I think it's like 15 bucks. It's awesome. Here's what's funny about this video. No one's gonna watch it. And I know that. Here's how I know that. I have assessed so many people to help them understand what their Enneagram type is. Except for 8. And it's not because there's a shortage of 8s in the world. It's because they don't want to know. They don't care. They don't like Enneagram. If you're a stereotypical 8, you probably hate Enneagram. You think it's as silly as a zodiac or astrology or something like that. Like, it's pointless to you. Also, one struggle with accepting Enneagram as truth, because like, well, nothing's perfect. How can that be real? And also 9s, well, I'll mention this in the video coming up after this, but 9s largely just don't even care about it. Like, they're just apathetic about it. But 8 specifically are typically aggressive towards it. And of course, they're the challenger. Of course, they're not going to want to accept that they can be labeled. I had one person who may have been an 8, from what I could tell, said, "You can't label me like that." So that's probably an 8 that's challenging that right off the bat. So with that being said, I doubt any 8s are watching this video, but I guess at this point I'm making the video for anyone who has an 8 in their life. Granted, I'm a 7, but my wing is an 8. So, you know, I have those anger issues that 8s have, and I can be a bit much and a bit high strung. I know what that's like. That's my wing, but I'm ultimately a 7. So what do 8s fear? That's what this series is about. We're looking at each one's fear and basically kind of using logic to say, well, isn't that pointless to fear that? So if you ask me, what does an 8 fear? They fear that they are not going to be able to convince other people that they're right and the other person's wrong. That's ultimately what it comes down to. And we need people like this. I want to be very clear. We need people like this to say, hey, you're wrong. You should be doing it this way. Now, the problem with 8s is if that's how you tell people that they're wrong, they're probably not going to listen to you. But by default, 8s are very outspoken and aggressive, and sometimes they are able to get through by saying, hey, you're wrong. You should do it this way instead. We need 8s in the world. They serve a very important role. But how can they become a better version of themselves? Because they're not always going to be able to prove people are wrong. And the thing about 8s, I would say they're probably right most of the time. That's the irony of it. They're probably right most of the time. They're just not necessarily the best at communicating that to other people so that other people want to follow them. And that can be the problem. That can be the paradox with 8. So when we look at this book, the best version of an 8 is a 2, the helper, the person who ultimately wants to be loved and feel loved. That's the fear of 2s, that they won't feel loved or be loved. So 8s actually need to adopt that mindset a little bit more. And it does make sense, because when an 8 acts more like a 2, they open up to others and reveal that they're actually vulnerable. Wow. They become more concerned with the welfare of other people. They become more loving and lovable. They express their soft, gentle, and tender sides. And that makes a whole lot of sense, right? I mean, let's say that you have the answer that everybody needs. But say, hey, you idiot, this is what you should do. It makes more sense to say, hey, I'm looking out for you here, and I wanted to let you know about this. Here's what I'm seeing. This has been my experience. I want you to check this out. What do you think about this? Even asking the person's opinion, even though as an 8 you know you're right, but still just asking them and making it a conversation. And acting like it matters to you that you feel loved. Even if you don't, you might not as an 8. But acting like a 2 is going to help you speak in the language that the other 8 Enneagrams probably need to hear, so that you actually become more efficient in what you do. So again, to fear that you're not going to be able to convince other people that they're wrong and that you're right, well, a lot of times you won't be. But if your approach changes, you'll probably actually be able to convince more people of that. So I would love to hear your comments. If you actually are an 8 and you're actually watching this video, I'm going to be amazed. But please let me know if you are. And if not, if you have anything else you want to say and you're not one of the other Enneagrams, let me know. Let's keep these conversations going right here in the comments.